drone operators from the 38th Marine Brigade destroyed a Russian armored supply vehicle with ammunition. It exploded not long after. The Kremlin decided to form assault units from convicts suffering from hepatitis B and C and send them to war against Ukraine. The corresponding order of the Minister of Defense of the aggressor state of Russia, Belousov No. 610, dated October 10, 2024, excludes hepatitis C from the list of diseases, the presence of which does not allow military service. A special order of organization and admission into the Russian Army of Occupation was approved for the recruitment of units from prisoners with hepatitis. Those infected with hepatitis are marked in the document as Contingent C. Before being sent to the front, sick convicts in the colonies must be formally vaccinated against hepatitis B and undergo a course of antiviral therapy for hepatitis C. According to Russian leaders' estimates, their new mobilization decision will allow thousands of Zeks to be involved in meat assaults in the war against Ukraine. For example, there are about 10,000 hepatitis patients in prisons and detention centers on the territory of the so-called Central Military District of the USSR. About 15% of them showed a voluntary desire to fight. The first 4 assault companies and 2 reserve companies from sick prisoners were formed by the Russians as part of the 1,435th and 1,437th Motorized Rifle Regiments, 27th and 15th Motorized Rifle Brigades of the Soviet Union, respectively. Named after hepatitis, the newly created Russian assault companies, VS, are planned to be deployed in the temporarily occupied territories of Luhansk and Donetsk regions. Consequently, the catastrophic losses and the fear of protests in large cities, which may be caused by the announcement of general mobilization, force Moscow to rake out all the painful evil from the prison for the criminal war. Chervona Kalina Brigade of Ukraine's NG repelled a Russian meat assault in the Pokrovsk area. Ukrainian defenders countered effectively, using coordinated firepower from artillery, drones, and firearms, despite thorough preparations by the Russian forces, including a rapid approach and heavy grenade attacks. The brigade successfully held the position, repelling the terrorist assault. Russia's approach to its military losses in Ukraine reflects a stark indifference. Despite thousands of soldiers killed or injured, the Kremlin prioritizes political goals over the lives of its servicemen. Families often receive little information or support, and official casualty numbers are heavily downplayed. Soldiers are seen as expendable, with recruitment focusing on numbers over welfare. This lack of regard for human cost underscores the government's commitment to an agenda driven by control rather than compassion, leaving countless families in the dark and soldiers' sacrifices unacknowledged. Meanwhile, Russia's media tightly controls information, framing these sacrifices as necessary for national pride, even as young conscripts and contract soldiers face grim realities on the front lines. Stories from the ground reveal a lack of adequate equipment, medical care, and clear objectives, yet those who speak out risk severe punishment. The government's silence and mismanagement of its own troops highlight a deep disregard for the individual, casting soldiers as tools rather than heroes. The true scale of the toll remains hidden, leaving a tragic legacy for Russian families caught in the shadows of state propaganda. America is running low on key air defense missiles as interceptors are sent to the Middle East to defend Israel, sparking fears over the U.S.'s preparedness for conflict. Standard missiles used to protect Israel from incoming Iranian missiles, and Houthi drones have been in high demand amid the widening conflict in the region. This has led to a shortfall in crucial defensive weaponry that U.S. officials say could leave the military vulnerable in a potential conflict in the Pacific. Officials told the Wall Street Journal the Pentagon now fears it could run through its stockpile of missiles faster than it can replace them. The U.S. has used more than 100 Standard missiles since Hamas's October 7th attacks into Israel last year, the officials noted. The U.S. has not developed a defense industrial base intended for a large-scale war of attrition in both Europe and the Middle East, while meeting its own readiness standards, Elias Youssef of the Stimson Center in Washington told the Wall Street Journal. Raytheon announced earlier this month it had entered full-rate production for Standard Missile 3 Block, amid increased demand for the product from the United States and allies partners. Russian telegram channels report that two men robbed a supermarket in Moscow of 25 packs of butter. An employee tried to stop them, but then one of the men pulled out a knife. Police have already detained two suspects. They are 29 and 25 years old. A criminal case was opened. The men face up to 10 years in prison. Russian media report that butter went up in price this year. Stores are starting to put security tags on butter, like they used to do with expensive alcohol and other luxury items. There will be practical launches of ballistic and cruise missiles during the exercise on the use of nuclear weapons. Putin decided to celebrate Halloween in his own way.
Сегодня мы проводим очередную тренировку стратегических сил сдерживания. Отработаем действия должностных лиц по управлению применением ядерного оружия с практическими пусками баллистических и крылатых ракет. Сразу отмечу, что Россия подтверждает свою принципиальную позицию о том, что использование ядерного оружия является крайней исключительной мерой обеспечения безопасности государства. Вместе с тем, мы хорошо понимаем, что именно ядерная триада продолжает оставаться надежным гарантом суверенитета и безопасности нашей страны, позволяет решать задачи стратегического сдерживания, а также поддерживать ядерный паритет и баланс сил в мире, как объективные факторы глобальной стабильности. Учитывая рост геополитической напряженности, появление новых внешних угроз и рисков, важно иметь современные и постоянно готовые к боевому применению стратегические силы. Будем и дальше совершенствовать все их компоненты. Ресурсы для этого имеются. Подчеркну, мы не собираемся втягиваться в новую гонку вооружений, однако будем поддерживать ядерные силы на уровне необходимой достаточности.
Putin is raising the stakes and trying to intimidate the West as much as possible before the US elections and possible negotiations. The video shows today's drills of Russia's nuclear forces, the launch of a Yars intercontinental ballistic missile from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome and a Sinova ballistic missile from the waters of the Barents Sea.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.